Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another rendition of Cut the BS. Of course, there is no BS without me. I am your host, Brandon Snide. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Brandon_Snide. And also don't forget to follow the Game On Wisconsin platforms, wherever you may have social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all kinds of good stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in for another jam-packed episode. It's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode tonight. Holiday weekend. I'm 30 minutes late. Sanjay is got a baby to get to bed, which is ultra important. And if you're looking at your screen and you're looking at that guy and you're like, man, he's really handsome, and he is. He's also familiar, and you should make sure you follow him on Twitter. I don't have your Twitter handle handy, Sanjay, but we'll throw it up on here in a second. Very excited for you guys to be tuning in. If you are on the live stream, again, good evening. Happy Thursday. I know Thursday night football is kicking off. Thursday night basketball is getting ready to kick off or tip off. If you are listening on your smart device, I hope you guys are doing well. And thank you. Always an absolute pleasure and honor to be here talking about our favorite teams. And that's the Bucks, Packers, Brewers, Badgers, the national champion chip volleyball women. Shout out to the Badger women's volleyball team. But Sanjay, good evening, my friend. And again, Sanjay, I'm going to get your Twitter handle up here when I introduce when you start speaking. So it gives me a second. Monday evenings, 7 p.m. If you guys are not following on Game On WI, give his show, the Freezer Podcast, a listen. It is the best show, not only because I watch it, but because it's on a Monday night, and there's always something to talk about with the Green Bay Packers on a Monday night. So Sanjay, how you doing, man?
Hey, Brandon, thank you so much for the kind words. Obviously, way too kind. I wish. Hopefully my wife is listening so she can hear all this awesome stuff about me. No, it's awesome to be here. Obviously, this is really fun to do this. It's really enjoying experience to obviously talk Bucks with you, obviously, and even Packer and any Wisconsin sports in general. So I'm ready for it. Let's just dive right in.
And it's, again, for those that, that may have never listened to the show, have maybe given the show a listen, for Game On Wisconsin, it's a lot of Packer stuff, and that's great. We talk Packers. Monday, you got the Freezer Podcast. Tuesday, you got the MBS show. Wednesday, there's a couple shows with Open Book and Lombardi's Bar. Thursday, I wanted to make it a little bit different for you guys. And if you're out there and if you're a Packers fan, there's probably a chance, I don't want to assume, but there's probably a chance that you're also a Bucks fan and a Brewers fan and a Badgers fan. So we're going to talk about it all. We're going to dive into all of it. The Packers are 11-3. They're looking good. They're playing in a few days on Christmas. You get a lot of Packer stuff. We got to talk about some Bucks here, Sanjay. I mean, the last time we spoke, the Green Bay Packers the Milwaukee Bucks were, they were 16-10, kind of getting on a little bit of a roll. They had a lot of COVID in the beginning of the year. Chris Middleton was out with COVID. Brooke Lopez has been out. Since then, they're 20-13. So they're 4-2 since the last time we talked. I just want to get your general thoughts on the state of our Milwaukee Bucks.
I think it's just like be patient and just ride the wave as whatever wave it's going to be. I mean,
that's all you can do.
I think it's a shoe-in that we're going to be at least a playoff team. I mean, I mean, you could just wake up on a October weekend into the Bucks or into the NBA season and understand that we're going to be in the playoffs. I mean, it's just a given. But it's just a matter of what seed will we be? What positioning will we want to be in? Are we going to be fully healthy? And right now we are not fully healthy, and it's not all of our fault. Obviously it's never our fault, but the fact being that this the COVID-19 bug is an Omicron or whatever the variant is also setting foot all over the NBA. It's causing everybody to really be in this, wait and see mode, just, weather the storm, I guess is the best way to say it. And play with what you got. And you got to hope that you have a deep roster, which is what, what we've actually, like, John Horst has set up for us. And it's so nice to see some of these huge free agent pickups, whether it's late with like Boogie or if it's early, with a Shemi or like a Rodney Hood or George Hill. What it's doing for this team in the state of mind that it is with all this COVID going on and injuries. And it's just a wait and see until we can get the whole crew together. And obviously, and real quick, just a shout out it's unfortunate for Dante, who was supposed to come back like a week ago, and then he gets COVID. So anyway, I don't know what we're gonna have for Christmas, but it was cool last night to see Chris back. But yeah, it's just a wait and see game.
Yeah, and 20-13. If you look at the Eastern Conference, Sanjay, I mean, after the 5 seed, it drops off. You know,
yeah.
So like you said, prior to the Bucks winning a championship and a championship, if you haven't experienced, your team winning a championship, and if you follow Game On Wisconsin, most of you are Packer fans and probably experienced the Super Bowl 10 years ago, or you're Bucks fans and you experienced the title last year. It solves a lot of worrisome. Your worries go down, a tremendous amount. The regular season, especially in basketball, unlike maybe football, regular season, it matters, but it's really about where you are at the state of a team come like March, April, if you're healthy, if you're clicking. But for me, I agree with you. It's about making sure you're healthy, making sure that you're going to get at worst the 4 seed probably. Maybe Brooklyn's going to be there. Obviously, Chicago's kind of one of those in between teams. They're dealing with the outbreak probably more than anybody, and there's not a whole lot anybody can really do about it. It is what it is. I know the NBA Players Association and the owners and the commissioner might be changing those rules. They're focusing towards where the NFL is right now. If you're test positive and the next day within 24 hours you test negative, you can play. So that's kind of up in the air. I don't think they've implemented that, but you got to think, Sanjay, that John Horst, I know it's a lot, hindsight's 2020, probably had a lot of thoughts going into this season. Like this could get to a point where we're deep in our bench and I'm sorry. I don't watch Brooklyn. I don't watch Chicago. I don't care about any of those other teams. I don't know if there's a deeper team in the Milwaukee Bucks right now. As far as that bench, you dip into getting Giannis pulled out of the starting lineup, and he had a positive COVID test. He's been out for about a week or so. The Bucks have, maintained their head above water. It's really all you can ask for. And you look at John Horst, kind of like with Brian Gutekunst, and you pull out Rasul Douglas, and he becomes a Pro Bowl alternate. DeMarcus Cousins is having a pretty good stay in Milwaukee. 18 points last night, 18 points and 8 rebounds, and he kind of his presence was much more known than that. Yeah, credit to John Horst, because the bench is just, you go out and get Wes Matthews. He's that 3-and-D guy. I don't want to say he's this year's PJ Tucker, because I don't think you can substitute it. But when it comes to what Wes Matthews does, he shoots the ball really well and he plays defense, above average. That's kind of where you were with PJ. Obviously, the mentality with PJ was a lot different. He did a lot more. I'm not comparing it to, but he's kind of that guy where he can provide a spark on both sides of the floor. But credit to John Horst, man, because this was, we didn't expect, when they played Brooklyn in that first game and they blew them out by like 30, you were like, this is awesome. And then Brook Lopez goes out. He hasn't been back since. We don't know when we're going to see Brook Lopez back. The big three were all out for a stretch of a period. They started the season 6-8, and you're thinking, well, it's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal. And then, they finally get back to the big three. They went like 11-1 over a stretch of 12 games when the big three played. And now you're out without the back-to-back, MVP and the finals MVP, and you're still okay. And yeah, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, that's what they're supposed to do. They get paid big money too. But when you dip in and you got, Javonte Smart, providing positive minutes, obviously I mentioned DeMarcus Cousins and George, acquisitions, like you said, Rodney Hood and Semi, who's finally back off his ankle or his calf strain, Wes Matthews. I mean, again, credit to John Horst, man, because without this bench, you're seeing it in LA, you're seeing it in Chicago. Other teams that are having issues with injuries and COVID are not doing so good.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those seasons where, we're not in the bubble anymore, and nor will we ever be, hopefully, again.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But it's just one of those things where I kind of have, I'll be honest, I've thought, just based on how bad this is getting, I thought maybe there'd be some sort of shutdown in the sense of, let's just get these guys at home 10 days, just away from basketball, and then let this kind of subside. I don't think that would happen just based on money, and I get it. But what's like the breaking point? Because like you're putting these rosters to a strain. You're obviously you've updated these protocols on what you can and who you can sign right away, and have these like COVID players that you can bring onto the roster immediately. And if it's like short test days, whatever it is, that's great. But like, at what point are you like putting a good product on the court, right? Like, yeah, you're just trying to get by to get. I mean, it's one thing in the NFL where you just got a couple weeks left and then you got playoffs, but this is like the beginning of the NBA season,
I
and you're
agree.
just gonna hope that this just gets better as it gets on. Like, if it was like April, okay, maybe we can like just try to weather the storm, and we'll only have 16 teams in the playoffs. We don't have to worry about the rest, right? Like, but this is a long stretch, so I really don't know what the right answer is. I really don't. But the Bucks seem to be handling it, as best as they can, and hopefully our big hitter, obviously Giannis, can get back on the court soon. I don't know if he is actually going to practice, or if because he's already hit his 10 days, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the current situation. Hopefully, he's not actually sick and like has got all the chills and all the symptoms or whatever you can get. I hope he's recovering really well, but in guys like Dante as well. So we'll see. I guess I don't know what to really do other than just sigh and just hope for the best, honestly.
Yeah, and it's a good point that you made. You made it about Christmas. Like until the NFL is on Christmas, like that to me is the NBA start of the season.
Right.
I know they start in October, but really Christmas Day, you get your prime time, you get your popcorn ready, you get, Lakers and Brooklyn and Milwaukee and Boston. Like you get some big matchups, Golden State, whoever, I don't even know the Christmas slate. I know who the Bucks play. But you get your heavy hitters out there on Christmas Day. And now I forgot, I got to give credit. I don't know. I forgot who it was. It was an NBA writer for The Athletic. He said, what turns into a primetime day is now going to turn into the G League with some stars sprinkled around the NBA. And
really,
unfortunately, it's just, I mean, it's just the day and age in which we live in as sports fans. You wake up every day and you scroll on Twitter, if you have Twitter or your Facebook, and you're just like, all right, let's get through today without a positive test. I know that's how it is for me, at least, because that's the biggest hurdle for any team right now.
Yeah, and I think I really just only feel bad for everybody that's bought in tickets. I mean, I was fortunate enough. I went to the first game and they were all there, and I think it's and I went to another game as well, and everybody was playing, and it's like, for everybody that pays like good money to see these guys play, and they don't get that, and they're going to see the G League experience.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to the Packer game on Saturday, and at least I know I'm going to see a good product.
Yeah.
If I were to go if I had a chance, I had a choice. I was like, do I go Bucks or do I go Packers? I'm like, I'm glad I chose the Packers, because I would not want to be seeing Javonte Smart leading the, what I'm saying? Like, I don't
blame you.
That's money talking right there, right? Like, I spent my money to see entertainment, and I'm seeing, G League players, not, I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect them, but I'm there to see Giannis. I'm there to see the big three. So, yeah, I guess it's just going to be a wait and see game.
Yeah, we'll kind of shift off the COVID thing, and yeah, you're right. I mean, Lambeau, Christmas, not, Aaron Rodgers said it doesn't get any better. A chance to, win another game and get to that number one, game closer to that number one seed. I would absolutely pick Lambeau. Lambeau might be cheaper than the Pfizer Forum.
In some cases, I mean, on a Christmas day, I've seen a lot of tickets being sold right now. Either people have family plans or whatever. I'm kind of fortunate where our family, we celebrated on a different day because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's about who you're with, not when it is. But it's easy for our family to make this happen, and so I'm fortunate to be able to go to the game.
Well, I took my daughter to a Bucks game. I think I might have told you this if we were on the show last time, and it was,
yeah, I remember. Yeah,
it was just insane. Like the amount of money, and I get it. They won a championship, but
yeah,
we're still Milwaukee, man. We're still Wisconsin, bro. This isn't New York or LA. But speaking of other teams, the NBA trade deadline is months away. We're not diving into what the Bucks could do. Maybe throw some names out there that we think the Bucks could do. I'll let you go first, because I'm going to be honest with you. My list is very, 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 very small. But do you think we'll make it a multi-part question. Do you think the Bucks need to make a trade? And number one, and number two, if they do, what are some names you're looking at?
I think we do need to make a trade, but not for the reason that you think. I think our
Okay.
roster is actually like good. I just think based on all these COVID issues and just the fact that anything could just blow up, I think you just need to upgrade where you think you need to upgrade at, your least depth position.
Good point.
And find that guy. It doesn't have to be the splash guy, or it doesn't have to be this big scorer, but it's got to be a guy that can come in and give you valuable minutes. I think that's kind of my outlook on trade deadlines. And especially in this circumstance with COVID, but my list is really just two guys, and my first is still Robin Lopez. Honestly, like I'm a little nervous that we're not going to see Brook Lopez. If we do, maybe we're lucky in the playoffs in the second round. I don't know. And even that, what Brook Lopez are you going to get that late in the year where he's not had any kind of conditioning? So I'm just really nervous. And the fact being that, Bobby Portis is a really awesome story, and I love his offense. He's not giving you a lot on the defensive side as much as we thought he would. I mean, he is getting rebounds, sure. I would hope so at 6'10", but I want that more of that presence where that, that pick and roll, the sliding over, having that rim protection that Brook, which it's hard to, make up for that. But DeMarcus Cousins, obviously it was nice to see him kind of start to figure himself a little bit more out last night and getting, a grinding 18 points. But I got to see this guy not get fouls like in the first 5 minutes and be like in foul trouble. So that's an issue. And so it's like, really, that's it. I mean, you're asking Shemi to be a 4-5 hybrid, and he's like a 6'9" guy. So it's not PJ Tucker. We don't need a PJ Tucker like that. So I think you just need height. Honestly, I think the rim protection, you're asking Giannis to do way too much in a season that's already being played with COVID, and the fact that, you're just trying to like ride the wave until Brook comes back. I just think you need to lessen the load for Giannis, especially in the regular season, and let him just, ease. I mean, that knee is still an issue for him. And, he gets banged around all night offensively. So Robin Lopez is my number one pick. I'll let you say one person if you have someone that's not Robin Lopez, and then I can say my other one.
Yeah, we'll do that. Good points, especially with the COVID, the wear and tear for sure. And people got to remember too, like the Bucks and the Suns, they played till the end of July almost. I mean, they were in the middle of the third week of July. So that, and then a handful of them, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, Jordan Nwora, that ankle breaker last night though, man, wasn't that something, dude? That
was all over Sports Center. That was all over like sports.
I was watching it live.
Day.
I was laid. I was like, we're gonna get back on track, I promise. But I was like laid back on the couch and I like jumped up. I was like, that did not just happen, because 9 out of 10 times you see it and they don't make the shot, right?
Yeah,
dude sunk that thing. I mean, that was something else. I got one guy, really the only guy that I've had my eye on. I wanted him last year. But I agree with you. You made some good points, especially with the depth and putting guys into position to be successful. Like you said, Bobby Portis isn't a 5. Semi's not a 3 or a 4. I mean, these are things that, they're asking them to do. That's kind of taking them out of their comfort level. Now you're getting a lot of production out of Boogie. How much is that going to keep going? I don't want to say he's not capable of it, because we've seen Boogie in his prime and he can drop 55 like he did in Sacramento, but those days are long and gone. Garrett Temple is a guy for me, down in New Orleans. They're obviously rebuilding or whatever. I don't know what they're doing with what's going on with New Orleans. But he's a taller guy. He's kind of like a little bit of a Bobby Portis. He plays better defense though than Bobby Portis. He rebounds the ball. He's a veteran. He's kind of like what you would say Wes Matthews is like, if you're familiar with the 3-and-D, for those that are listening, like the 3-and-D, he shoots the ball well and he plays defense. And he's just another piece, for the bench. And it's a guy that can sub out with Giannis and give Giannis that breather for whether it was a couple minutes during the game or even have a night off for Giannis, resting that knee. And that's another thing with Giannis, you still got in Chris Middleton. That was a scare, man, with Chris Middleton. That could have been really, really bad. with that hyperextended knee. And I don't know what gods are looking down, the basketball gods are with these hyperextended knees for the Milwaukee Bucks. First it was Giannis in July or June or July last summer. And then it was Chris Middleton, which looked like a lot worse than it was, but it wasn't. So Garrett Temple's a guy for me, just provides kind of what the Bucks have. Number 4 team in the NBA in 3-pointers made right now and percentage. Shoot the ball really well. He kind of fits exactly what they do.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't mind that one either. I feel like there's an area that we could kind of go by, right? And my second guy is someone I don't even like, but I like what he could present. And I don't know what we're going to see from Dante. I really don't know what we're going to get. We've kind of seen what we're going to get from Grayson Allen. I think just spot up shooter, pass and shoot. Like I know that he has that element to drive to the basket. It's fine. I don't love it. I mean, he's a lot more miss than he is make on those. I mean, there are times where he just tries to. I like his aggressiveness. I really do, because someone's got a hand in your face. They're already gonna bite on the fake of the 3, drive it. I just hope you're at least 75% or higher on those, teardrops or whatever little lay-ins you're gonna put in. But I'm gonna go point guard. Actually, I was gonna say someone from the from the Pacers, and then I decided to go away from it. Actually, but this is a really weird one for me, but it's interesting just based on his talent.
Okay.
Ricky Rubio. Now, it's a name that people just don't. I mean, everybody's heard it, right? He's like the Sergio Garcia of the PGA Tour, right? Guy was supposed to be it. And funny enough, he's actually from Spain, I think, or Argentina. And he's like this guy that actually can distribute the ball really, really well. That I kind of like. He's not a point scorer. I mean, he can be, but he doesn't need to. And I kind of like that from the second unit to start feeding more for the Waras or Matthews or whoever, Connaughtons, whoever it is, Bobby Portis, who's ever in there. I don't know how they're going to be distributing their big 3 in their second lineup. I know there's been so much where it's like one of the big 3 is usually in there, and then that other whoever's the point guard, if Drew's not in, it's like a Javonte Smart or it's George Hill. I still don't buy into George Hill. I might be in the minority on this. I mean, from what I've watched basketball wise, I just don't see it. And I wish it was like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, George Hill, where he was a little bit more reliant. But I'm not seeing it there. So I want someone to distribute the ball a little bit more to that second unit. I think we get pretty stale on that second unit sometimes, unless we have a guy that's on fire, like a Connaughton or Bobby Portis. But sometimes it just gets kind of stagnant, and that's when the teams can come up on these 20-point leads that we have, and then we're like, oh, well, how did this happen? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because we've had no production in the second unit or third unit. So that's just mine. I don't love that pick, but again, I really don't love the trade deadline. I only see one guy, and I already mentioned my number 1 need. So this is just one of those filler ones that I think could maybe work, but it's also a shot in the dark.
Yeah, it's funny you have Rubio, because I initially had a guard. He's kind of a point guard, I guess. But I don't know if it would work. I had Corey Joseph down over in Detroit, because, it's a good point you make with George Hill, because he knows Bud's system. He's steady. He's a veteran. I don't think they're going to do anything with him. I think he's going to be that number 2 guy, and you've seen it. Bucks fans have seen, the offense is able to be run with both Drew and George out there at the same time, which when you have that, your defense is also a little bit better. You have Chris Middleton at the 3, and then obviously Giannis, and then whoever's playing center, whether it's Boogie. If you get Brook Lopez, and you're right, and I agree with you, that still is one of the weirdest things to me. I don't understand what happened to the back. It was just he played, he was out, you heard back soreness. Then he was on a podcast with Shams Charania, and he said he's coming back. And 2 days later, they're like, oh, he had surgery. So you're probably right. Will we see him? Probably not. It's kind of like if you're a Packer fan with the Zadarius Smith, it's just you're kind of waiting, and you see him on the sideline, or you see him on the court side, and you're like, sweet, he's smiling, he's happy, he looks like he's okay. And you think that he's going to come back, and you're right, especially with a big guy like a 7-footer with a bat back, probably not good. And I'm 6'1" and I have a bad back, and it's horrible. So you're right with that. Like a dream scenario for me, and I don't know if this is the guy you were talking about for Indiana, Sabonis. But I doubt, obviously. And here's the thing, though. If Miles Turner is available and Brook Lopez is like, there's no way he's coming back. I just don't know. I know in NFL, you never see an intra-division trade. Basketball, you see it more often. I don't know if the Indiana Pacers would be willing to help out the Milwaukee Bucks because it looks like they're in a little bit, or they're going to be in a little bit of a rebuilding. They're awful again this year. They have random pieces that just don't fit together. So like Turner or Sabonis, but then what does it cost? Is it going to be a Dante DiVincenzo? Are you willing to give that up? Because I think right now, I know nobody in the NBA is healthy. Nobody's going to be healthy for the rest of the year. But if you get Dante back and you can foresee a Brook Lopez return, February, March, April, you don't need to do anything, really. I mean, you're deep as it gets. On the bench, you're starting. I mean, you 3-point shooters everywhere. But the X factor is Brook Lopez. And like you said, even if he does come back, what are you going to get out of him?
That's kind of why I like my Robin Lopez, just because it's a
good
low,
point.
Like,
it's a good one. Yeah,
it's a low cost. Maybe you just send cash and a pick. Maybe you send cash and Shemi. I don't think it's going to cost you a lot. I do think the price tag from Turner, which I'm not in love with him. He does miss a lot. I do like his young age. But I don't. And Sabonis, of course I just don't know. The other thing too, you have to look into these trades, is who really fits well in the system, because is Miles Turner, which he's already, publicly said he doesn't want to be a role player. He wants to be the guy. So I don't know if you're a starter on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, obviously everybody has their words until they start coming until they get signed to, or traded to the, the defending champ. So, maybe his tune might change, but fluidity and chemistry of the offense and what Bud likes to throw out there is really key. And I don't know if Sabonis would even fit, based on he's kind of slow. He's not really like he's like a standalone kind of like, all right, feed him, and then he kind of makes like a one move and shoot. He's not really like athletic, in my opinion. He doesn't slash a lot, so really, what are you going to be getting? Are you giving too much away for a guy that is just a name? And can he get his own points? Of course he can. But is that a detriment to Giannis or Chris or Jew? I don't want that then, because you got to let them be who they are. That's what won you a championship. Let them be what they are, and then put the pieces around it that can complement. So that's how I see it. And I don't think those two guys are really the complement players. I think they're the guys that are like, hey, we're a piece away kind of player. Let's go for those guys. And that's kind of my thought on it.
Yeah, no, it's a good thought. And you would imagine the front office is working in tune with not only Bud, but Giannis as well. And I know he wanted some input, and I'm sure he probably has it. He has anything. There's a statue. I don't know if you caught that. JBL they have a Giannis statue going up. I don't think it's permanent. I think it's like a temporary. It's here.
I think it is temporary.
Yeah, it's for like a couple weeks outside. Yeah,
but hey, there's going to be a bigger statue at some point in Milwaukee, I can imagine. So
there's going to be quite a few if it trends to go this way, because this is the team, and I'm 100% biased. And if anybody that's followed me since day one knows that, they're just the best team in the NBA. And I know record wise, you're going to tell me, well, they're the 3 seed. Okay, I get it. They haven't been healthy. None of them have been there. Really all year. The big 3 I'm talking.
Maybe we should change this from cut the BS to cut the bias.
That's even better. Speaking of bias, we're going to wrap this show up, and I apologize if you guys are listening or on the live YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. That is a little bit of a shorter show. It is 100% my fault. I forgot I had to go take my son to get a haircut prior to Christmas, and my days are all mixed up because Christmas Eve's tomorrow. So I'm thinking today's Wednesday. I'm all screwed up. But you are going to Lambeau Field for Christmas. What a glorious weather-wise afternoon it's looking like.
Yeah, I kind of wanted the snow though, but yeah.
I know. So Cleveland's coming into town 7-7. They're coming off of a loss Monday afternoon against Las Vegas. The Green Bay Packers are obviously coming off of whatever that was in Baltimore at the end of the game, that close should have not been close game.
A win and get out game.
It's all that matters, man. At the end of the year, it's all that matters. Real quick, your prediction for a Packers-Browns Christmas clash.
It's so weird because we don't know who's playing for Cleveland, so I just don't know what to expect.
It's a weird week, dude. It's really weird.
You might not have Jadeveon Clowney or Myles Garrett.
Right.
I think Baker Mayfield feels. So I don't know what really roster they're going to have out there, but I do think we obviously win the game. I do think we honestly win pretty handedly. Actually, I think there's a lot of motivation behind 12 this week. I'm not worried about the record. I think he's ready to go win his 4th MVP and get it the back-to-back. And I think he wants to set fire to the league. And I'm saying 4 touchdowns. I predicted on the show, on my show, 49 points, which is kind of ridiculous. But I will, for the sake of this thing, I will keep it into the 40s and I'll take a step back on the touchdowns. I'll say 42 to 17. And I think the defense kind of steps back into their, grittiness with Kenny Clark back. And I think they hold them to under 20 points.
I hope you're right. And I'm super jealous of you, but I'm super happy for you because you're going to be witnessing history as Aaron Rodgers.
I've never been to a witnessing history game, honestly.
I don't think I have. I don't think I have either, to be honest.
I've been to big moment games, but I've never been to Rodgers 400 or, like that.
That's a big one, dude, because that one's not getting broken. That's a big one.
For the Packers, right? Yeah.
Right. For the that's not getting broken. That's a big one. It's a weird week. Cleveland's coming off a short week. They have tons of COVID issues. Greg Newsome, their starting cornerback, rookie cornerback out of
concussion
Northwestern. Yeah, he's out now. So they're anticipating Baker Mayfield. It's a weird week for not only the Packers because they played on Sunday, now they're playing on Saturday. Obviously,
a lot of these guys haven't played in 3 weeks. They've played like one game in 3 weeks. So
it's extremely weird. It's an uncommon opponent, which we saw in Baltimore, what that can do. We saw Mark Andrews have a career day. But I'm with you. I think the Packers win. It's Christmas. I'm going to be with family. My kids are going to be, out of control. I want a game, Sanjay, where I can just sit back, relax, and just chill,
it doesn't
man.
Exist.
It doesn't
exist.
It doesn't exist
right now. I don't even know if those games. I can't tell you the last game. I was just like, I'll just sit back with my feet up and just.
It was the last time they played around Christmas. They won 55-0. They played Tennessee like 4 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just
that was like the last one.
It's few far in between. I'll tell you that right now.
It is, man.
It's not really a big thing that happens. So,
but I'm super thrilled for you. I'm happy you're going to be going out there. It's exciting. It's going to be history.
Shout out to Matt Jensen. I'm using his ticket, so he decided to host Christmas.
Shout out to Matt Jensen. That's a win-win. I appreciate you coming on. I know it was a little bit of a shorter show, but we're going to come back every 2 weeks. Sanjay is going to join me. Tentatively, I think that's what we worked out, right?
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Tentatively, every 2 weeks, we're going to be out here. Next time we'll have a longer show for you. But if you're on Twitter, if you're listening to this, wherever you may get your podcast, don't forget Game On Wisconsin is wherever you may get your podcast. Follow Sanjay at Sanjay X. Is that Murthy?
Yep.
Okay. Sanjay X Murthy. Give him a follow. And until next time, go Packers, go Bucks. Go Badgers. Badgers basketball is kicking it. Women are volleyball champions. The Brewers, we don't know if they're going to play again. But
we got some people going into the Wall of Fame or whatever.
We do. Prince Fielder, Ryan Brown. We got some news. We'll dive into all that next time. For me, for Sanjay, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope everybody out there has a very jolly Christmas, whatever you celebrate. A happy New Year. I think we'll be back before the New Year. Yeah, next Thursday. So I'll be back here next Thursday. Not sure who's going to be joining me, but as always, we'll have somebody. For now, that will do it. I hope you guys all have a great rest of I guess it's the weekend because now everybody's off tomorrow. So have a good one, guys. Have a Merry Christmas.